Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of What Had Happened This Week Was... Got Batman in the background here. We're out at the stables. I got my Gun Mag warehouse and my $1,023 Right to Arm Bears Big Bear California t-shirt. If you want to find out why this t-shirt cost me $1,023, then check out the video in the link down below. So today we're going to be talking about crazy COVID week 6. So this crazy COVID thing has been going on for 6 weeks now. Everybody's locked down. And there are some conspiracies about how it started and how to cure it. So there's a crazy ass conspiracy out there that 5G causes COVID. The other leading conspiracy theory right now is that China invented this as a biological weapon and they unleashed it on their own people so that they could test it, and then somehow it got out, or I don't know. It's one of those dumbass things where they're like, oh, well, yeah, of course, you know, China's got 1 billion people. They want to control the population, so we'll just invent coronavirus. And everybody, even Batman doesn't believe that shit. Look at him. He's like, hey, yo, daddy, I gotta poke my head up. I don't believe that shit. There have been a couple of controversial potential cures. One is, I swear, it's right out of the Gwyneth Paltrow Goop bullshit. Steam your clam, you know, steam your hoo-ha, because that'll help you. This is the anal sun tanning. So they think that because if you have a lot of vitamin D in your body, they think that, you know, that might help with curing the COVID virus. So some people are encouraging you to anally suntan. That means you need to put your butt up towards the sky, grab your butt cheeks, spread them nice and wide. Get that starfish that you just paid to have bleached. Hey, whatever happened to that? Wasn't bleaching your starfish a thing? Now they want you to suntan it? What the hell is wrong with you people? And I can't wait to see what the tan lines look like. It's just like everybody's butt is going to have like a tan line of like one hand on this side and one hand on this side of their butt cheeks. So it's like, ooh, that's an interesting tan line you got there. You've been out there anally suntanning, haven't you? Now, of course, Fredo Cuckmo, or as he's, at least as CNN calls him, Chris Cuomo, had his official I'm coming out of the basement party.
So we covered Chris Cuomo's kind of a bit of a breakdown that he had on the radio whenever he talked about how much he hated his job, even though he just signed a new contract.
Jeff Zucker. That was a breakdown. I think it was a moment of...
It was odd. It was weird.
Honesty. I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but... and so he emerged from his basement yesterday, from his quarantine basement, making it sound as if it was the first time that he did so. Let's take a listen to that, and then we're going to react to it.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement. Cleared by CDC, a little sweaty, just worked out, happens. This is what I've been dreaming of, literally for weeks. My wife, yeah, right. She was cleared by the CDC. She doesn't have fever, she doesn't have the symptoms anymore, more than 7 days from her quarantine. We're still a little scared, so I'll just give you one of these. 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 Bella has, of course, taken the video.
So you watch that clip, Crystal, and it makes it seem as if it's like, oh, Chris is finally coming out of the basement. This is the first time.
First look of him emerging
ever
officially.
Happened. First look. I mean, first of all, I could never do something like that. It's so embarrassing. It's like fancy Southampton home. But, okay, that's not the weird part. The weird part is that's not the first time he's gone out of the basement. And we know that because of the altercation that he described in that radio interview that we talked about earlier, where he's like, I don't want to be standing on my lawn, somebody coming after me and, cursing at me.
Got yelled at by a biker, yeah.
So here's the thing. He already has publicly said that he broke quarantine on Easter Sunday to take his wife and children to look at an undeveloped property in East Hampton, New York, as all of us do
on Easter
Sundays.
Sunday.
We go real estate prospecting in one of the richest places in America. I mean, who among us hasn't done that? But the point is, first of all, this is literally just fake news. Like, it's actual fake news of the whole, like, emerging from the thing. But it's just so dramatic and weird, the entire thing that surrounds it, to make this entire segment of, like, this is the first time I'm emerging, and look at me, I'm a responsible citizen. He even tweeted afterwards, he's like, something to the effect of, like, please stay home, like, make sure. He broke quarantine. I mean, he literally, and he admitted to it. He got into an altercation with a biker who was like, why are you outside? You're the governor's brother, and you have coronavirus.
So he did that, even though everybody knows he got called out for being an asshole because his brother, the legit, Cuomo in the family, who's the governor of New York, told everybody, hey, quarantine, stay in place. This, and Chris Cuckmo, Fredo is out there, and he's walking around out in public. Some guy recognizes him and says, hey, you have COVID. I recognize you. You're Chris Cuckmo. You have the coronavirus. You're not supposed to be outside exposing it to other people. And Fredo said, hey, I'll do whatever I want to do, and I don't care about you. And they're like, dude, your brother's the governor. What kind of example are you setting? He's like, I don't care about my governor, and I don't care about all that. Got into this big-ass fight. This was just last week. And then now Fredo is pretending like he was quarantining himself in his own basement. His wife has COVID. His kid has COVID. And speaking of anal bleaching, his wife, Chris Cuomo, Fredo Cuckmo's wife, just came out by saying that she adds like a half a cup of bleach to her bath water, and that everybody else should do that to help, I don't know, I guess bleach your anus. Because, I mean, if she's putting a half a cup of bleach in her bath water every time she takes a bath, I'm pretty sure her starfish is nice and pink. So that's a good image for all of us to think about. Fredo Cuckmo's wife and her pink starfish, and everything's bleached. And Donald Trump came out and he was like, hey, look, I think that we need to find, look, I said Donald Trump, look at Batman. He's like, yay, our president? Yes, President Trump. I beg your forgiveness, Batman. President Trump came out and said in a press conference, it would be nice if, because these disinfectants kill the virus in like a minute, it would be nice if we had something like a disinfectant that you can inject and clean out your system. Can you guys look into that?
People are still trying to figure out the hell who was talking about with these comments, which he did not do much to clear up the next day. Take a look.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. Then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that? And is there a way we can do something like that? And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to...
And everybody took it as, the president said to inject Lysol. Like these idiots when President Trump said, hey, hydroxychloroquine helps, cure the coronavirus. And these people saw chloroquine in their aquarium cleaning stuff. They drank it. The one guy died. I'm like, good riddance. We don't need any more stupid people in here. It's like hearing that sodium chloride makes food taste better. And they're like, chlorine is the second part of sodium chloride, so I'll just put chlorine on my food, and that'll make it taste better, and then I'll eat it, and then they die. No, NaCl, sodium chloride, is salt. But if you eat sodium by itself, you will die. If you eat chlorine by itself, you will die. This is stuff that they taught us in 9th grade biology. Did you guys not pay attention? And I bet you didn't hear about the mass shooting that happened up in Canada. It was the worst mass shooting in their history. I believe that there are 22 people dead. Even Batman's upset about it. Look at him. You know, we're more concerned about scaring the hell out of you and make you watch TV, get our ratings up. You know, the mainstream media is, you know, more concerned about covering Fredo Cuckmo and coming out of his cellar. These are the numbers that you need to be most concerned with. It turns out that they did a study of random New Yorkers. 20% of people have already been exposed to this coronavirus. They've already developed antibodies for it. And almost none of them showed any symptoms, which means they never knew that they had it. Now, 52,217 Americans have died from coronavirus, 95% of them over 65 and or had existing previous health conditions. So 40% of the people that have died from coronavirus come from assisted care facilities. Now, here's an interesting stat about assisted care facilities is the average life expectancy for any person living in an assisted care facility is 5 months. Because most people are put into these facilities because they're about to die. So what are we talking about here, people? We're talking about 95% of the people that die are over 65 and have health concerns. 40% of everybody that's dead basically had an average life expectancy of 5 months. And we're going to shut down the entire economy, keep all of us working age people from going to work, providing for our families. You're going to keep us from doing that, keep us from living? I don't think so. And on a lighter note that we will end with, Batman gets all excited when I yell. He's like, "What are you yelling about, Daddy?" It's Dan Crenshaw. Batman loves Dan Crenshaw. Batman, Dan Crenshaw! He's like, all right, Dad. Dan Crenshaw destroyed Bill Maher this week in this clip.
You know, even though we disagree on political things, and I think I would like us to get to that point with this president as well.
Okay, but you do what a lot of Republicans do. You talk about his tweets and his style. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person who is the leader of the country at a time of crisis. And we have to go through what he actually has done. This is important stuff. It's about life and death, and it's about our economy and everything that's really important. It's not tweets and it's not style.
Farmers out there saying, well, he must know what he's doing. I guess they're just going to have to keep touching this hot stuff. I'm not wishing for a recession, but if the farmers want to keep touching the hot stove...
Well, you should wish for a recession, because that will definitely get him unelected.
Okay, but Bill, you don't really want a recession.
I really do.
You're gonna knock
we have survived many recessions. We can't survive another Donald Trump term.
He said he was ahead of it. 43 countries did it before we did. There are still people coming in from China. He only stopped foreign nationals.
Yeah, okay, let me address that, because I know that's what people are saying right now. But the reality is, it was about 40,000 people came in after that. These were U.S. citizens and green card holders and passport holders being repatriated. U.S. citizens. So you have to make the argument then that we shouldn't allow them in. I mean, it sounds to me like you're fully agreeing with President Trump on this when everybody else disagreed with him. And, and if you're saying that you wish that travel restriction had been more extreme, okay, fine. I mean, you apparently had the foresight back then, but when nobody else did. But the fact is, you know, if Joe Biden was in charge at that moment, he's already said he wouldn't have done it. He criticized it at the time. Nancy Pelosi actually proposed legislation to stop it.
He on the 25th, he said the next day 15 people have it, and it's soon going to be close to zero. March 6th, he said anyone who wants a test can get it, which is still completely.
Let me stick to February.
Completely
as
wrong.
You go forward because you mentioned February 25th. The day before, February 24th, that's when the administration requested $2.5 billion from Congress to fulfill, CDC, NIH, and FDA funding to combat the virus and the potential spread of it. What happened right then? I'll tell you because I was in Congress and I know what happened. Did we vote on a supplemental funding bill? No. Did we wait days to vote? No, still didn't vote on it. You know what we voted on later that week? Nancy Pelosi, the only thing she would put on the floor to vote on was a bill to ban flavored tobacco. Nancy Pelosi, the only thing she would put on the floor to vote on was a bill to ban flavored tobacco. Nancy Pelosi, the only thing she would put on the floor to vote on was a bill to ban flavored tobacco. That's what actually happened. It was only a week later that we actually voted on the supplemental funding that the administration requested. Your criticism appears to be based in one thing, that Trump was overly optimistic. That's his style. Again, you can criticize it. That's fine. But it's not connected to the actions that were actually taken. Because if I back up even further, February 14th, CDC announces ongoing work with 5 laboratories to perform community-based influenza surveillance and study the spread of the virus. We're in a fact-finding mode in February. People forget this. People keep calling February this lost month. But it's really not. That's an easy and cheap accusation because there's no big, bold moves taken like there was in January or like there was in March. But the reality is our government was working to create that test. Now, did they work as fast as we would have liked? And of course not. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which I'm happy to go into. By March 3rd, there was only 102 cases in the United States. And yet I'm hearing criticism that we should have been locked down weeks earlier. But would you think the American people would have accepted that with only 100 cases in the United States? Italy didn't lock down until March 10th. Spain, not until March 14th. UK, not until later in March. Places like Sweden's never locked down. And so I provide all of that context as we try to basically accuse this man of he's being accused of having blood on his hands, and context is so important here.
Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you'll like, share, subscribe, comment, all that other goodness. But most of all, I hope that you will get out there and just go live your life. Don't be afraid of what these idiots are telling you. Let the numbers decide. If you're part of the vulnerable population, don't go out. But don't keep those of us that are healthy from living our lives. It's not fair to shut down the entire country to save 50,000 lives. There are 330 million people that you are punishing to save 50,000 lives. That's ridiculous. More people die of heart disease every year. More people die of influenza every year. More people die from suicide every year. So maybe let's concentrate on those people before we shut down the entire economy to keep us from providing for our families. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.